Another day working on the S15 Silvia. Today, not really doing a hell of a lot. Well, doing a lot, but not accomplishing a lot. Working on the engine bay again, just sanding. Got the bulk of the sanding done on the firewall and the driver's side strut. Just working on the passenger side at the moment. Going to move on to these C-channels shortly and add a bit of plate just to remove the air. Well, the light you can see behind it when they're on, and probably sand down the front support as well. Should be easy enough. Just want to feel like I've accomplished a bit. Also feeling like I should remove these studs. The studs you can see there that hold the radiator supports on, and replace them with just a simple thread so we can just wind a bolt and make it a little bit tidier, I reckon. Time to get some lunch, but pretty much got the C-channels finished on the front. Got a bit more filler to sand. Most of the filler in the back of the bay is done with coarse sand. Just got to go over it pretty fine, high fill, all that jazz afterwards. Hopefully the tubs get here this week. That'll be nice, that way I know exactly what to cut out. I can do the fronts. And then just waiting on the engine so I can work out what else I need to do on the back, where I need to smack the tunnel, all that jazz. I'll probably smack that a bit later. I roughly know what I need to do. Carpet's out of the car, bit of a vacuum already. Come up not too bad, a little hole under the footrest. Got the rear disc brakes off Cliff, sorry, the rear drum brakes. So I'm going to pull them apart, give them a clean. But I figured why not, I've got the pressure washer out, give them a good blast now. Going to give the carpet a good blast, so let's get into it. Onto the rear control arms. The bushes are going to get replaced in these. At the moment, absolutely fought them, couldn't get them out. Tried all sorts, ended up burning out the centres. Now I'm just going to cut them with the reciprocating saw, same as I did the diff bushes, and knock them out with the hammer. Got to get a big hammer, then I'll take the ball joints out. Nearly at the end of the day. Feel like I've achieved a bit. Probably wanted to do a little bit more, but that's okay. Did everything I really needed to. The carpet's outside drying off. I'll wheel that wheelie bin in tonight just so it can drip dry. It's pretty soaked, all the foam in the bottom's got all the water. Then it probably needs another clean after that. The engine bay, still got a heap of filler work to go. Really need the tubs before I can do too much more. And just these rear arms, got all but one ball joint out. Been an absolute fight. So do the last ball joint now. See how we go with that. Let's see how we go. Not the best setup. The socket I'm using is slightly too short, so it gets stuck on the bolt by the thread. And there's a heap of shit around my feet, so I can't really make much of an effort to catch the ball joint when it spits out, so we'll just see what happens. Worst case, I end up with a hole in the wall. See what happens. Hopefully the arm doesn't bend and the ball joint comes out. She's out. Got caught in the rubber. But yep, she's out. Good to go. Sway bar links are easy enough, just quickly remove those. It's nice and bare now. Probably prep them up, quick scuff tomorrow, get them ready for paint. All this other stuff can go in the bin, no longer required. And just to close the video off, just updating underneath, absolutely everything is stripped. Tomorrow I get to lie on my back, get a sponge out, get a soap out, and give the whole floor a big scrub. Same with all the wheel arches, get it ready for undercoat. The interior, pretty much all stripped. That loom will stay in there, no need to remove it. You can see where I welded the holes up in the firewall, so I'll give them a bit of a paint from behind, otherwise it can stay how it is. Always nice finding a coin in the car. What is it? Old 20-cent coin, 2003. Not that old. Nearly as old as the car. Could have fallen down there when they first got it. But yep, give it a bit of a clean up in here as well. Rip the plastics off the doors or put them up back again nice. And tonight I'll try to find some speakers to go into the holes. But that is me done for the day. Enjoy the rest of your day, guys. See ya. I'm back very quickly, same video. I thought I'd be on to the next, but after looking at yesterday's footage, didn't really have enough. Turns out I got into the jobs rather than filming them. It happens. I like to go fast, I don't like to film myself. But today, got some masking tape, some string out. I'm going to get under the car, measure out the length of the brake lines to replace the hard lines. I'm going to go braided for them, from the front to the back, and then split off to the two sides. Should be easy enough. And I got the plastic cowl trim out here. I'm going to chuck some paint on, but then once that's done, got the A-arm, just going to chuck some engine enamel on. They don't have to be perfect, end of the day they're under the car. I just want them to look as nice and fresh as I can without spending too much on them. The cowl's going to be first up. Had the paint sitting out in the heat for a while. This seems to do really well on just black plastic shit. So I'll give it a good shake and then we'll get it on there. One quick coat on there and it's already looking 100 times better. A fair bit of overspray on both the ends. I probably should have wiped them down with a bit of thinners to try and get it off, but I reckon the paint's going to cover it up. Give it another 2 coats, probably use the last of the can up, there's not a lot left. And then we'll do the A-arms once I can get it up onto the stand. Kind of not looking forward to getting on the floor. Just give it a good sweep. There's so much filler dust. And it's one of those days where I just don't want to sand, so hopefully I can find enough to fill in time, otherwise I'll get in there and do some sanding as well. 3 coats later, starting to look pretty bloody good. Not perfect, I probably should have gone over a few bits with some sandpaper, but it is a 20-year-old part as well, so as good as I can at the moment is good enough. I can always touch it up again later, it's easy to get off, but for now I got one joiner on the front for the brake line, and then underneath I've got the other one sitting up here, so I'm ready to get the string line out in a minute and work out where I'm going to tape up where the P-clamps will be for the brake lines and run them, get some measurements. Before I move under the car I decided I'd better give a first layer of paint onto the A-arms, and might as well go the radiator support bar while I'm at it. Just using some engine enamel, seems pretty hardy, easy enough to spray, been sitting in the sun all day as well. Even just a little bit there you can see the world of difference between what it was like and what it should turn out to be. Probably need a couple of coats. The radiator support bar has no paint on it at all. Amazing it's not rusty. They usually have a fair coat on them, so sort of a good sign, makes it easier for me. Final coat of paint on the arms, just let them dry out in the sun. Now I'll chuck them into the spare room so they're away from any harm. While that's all been happening, I've been lying under the car. You can see my marks on the filler dust, but there is a string line running from the front to back, supported every few inches by some tape. Get under there and show you what I've done. This is purely to measure out the braided lines, so you can see roughly where it'll run down the rails, a little bit loose in spots, and try to take the longest possible route up to a junction here. Then we've got the short line that runs around to the driver's rear, and then the passenger's rear runs right around the top there behind the fuel tank and up and back to the factory pickup point. Should be easy enough. I'll pull these out now. All the strings have been cut to length, so I'll just be able to measure them up and flick an email through to John and see if he can have them made up for me. I told myself I'd have a day off filler work and sanding. Unfortunately didn't do that. Managed to get all the filler work done from strut towers back. Pretty much, little bits here and there to go, but only as I find it as I'm touching up. Going to start going over it with 180 just to feather out some of the heavy gouges before I hit it with 240. So maybe do some more sanding. I guarantee I'll do some more sanding on it tomorrow. Big job tomorrow will be starting to attack the front body loom. Probably most of the day job. If I can get half of it done tomorrow, I'll be happy. Bit of a science experiment at the back here at the moment. Got bolts sitting in coke to see how much it cleans them up. Don't think it's going to do bugger all, but let's see. And I guess that's about it. Managed to run the brake lines, that was a success. Alright, I am done. Time to shower and relax.